Greetings, people of the YouTube. I am back after what may have been a 2-week hiatus due to extenuating circumstances outside of my control. Basically, if you've watched my previous videos, you may have noticed from one of them, people were drilling into the floor upstairs. They were going brrr, and they were going bang, bang, bang. And I was like, what you doing, maniacs? I'm trying to do a video. Turned out what they were doing is ruining the entire flat that I actually live in, because this studio bit is attached to the bit I live in. And yeah, it turned out they ruined it because it flooded when I was away surfing for a day or two. And yeah, I came back and it was flooded, and that sucks. So I haven't actually been living here the past week and a half. And I've only just literally come back, and I've got this bit of the studio working well enough to do videos. So I am back doing videos, even though it's more of a workspace now than a living space. I'm going to move somewhere new. I'm going to move to a nice big place. It's going to have a big studio, and it's going to be near some cows, probably in the country, maybe some sheep too. I want to get some pet goats. Don't know if that will happen or not. But yeah, it's going to be amazing. Anyway, that is just why there's been a little bit of a delay in the videos, but I am back giving you useful information on a regular basis, as well as antics, distractions, Skrillex jokes, all sorts of weird digressions off the topic of what I'm actually telling you. So let's get on to the actual topic of what I'm telling you, and that is Ableton stuff, brackets, track delays, double brackets, double track delays. I made up the last one. But yes, track delays in Ableton, they're really cool. I've only just started using them, to be completely honest, and that's because I've been making a lot of techno for a course I've been making, and yeah, in techno they're really useful, as well as other genres, but I've been using them a lot for just my workflows in the techno. So what are track delays? Nice and simple. At the moment, this is just a normal bit of an idea I knocked up before I turned on the webcam, pointing, don't know why I did that. Just a bit of a simple idea. Nice simple techno loop. Kick drum, bit of a tom sound, through a delay, and a bit of a reverb. Nice and simple, the nice start of a techno idea, you might say. Tech, yes. Right, so what would track delays do? What do they look like? Where are they? Why haven't I told you what they are yet? So, if you click the little D down here, D for dingus, then it opens up the track delays bit. And then this bit at the side tells you how much each track is delayed. Because what you can do is you have all these different tracks in Ableton, and you can delay or pre-delay either of those tracks, effectively moving them forward or backwards. I always get muddled up forwards and backwards in the timeline, so they're offset against each other. Now, typically the way you'd use this is to compensate for delays or latency in, say, analog gear, or if you're recording something and there's processing. So you typically use it for corrections, but I've been using it just as a general workflow technique, and I know a few other people do, because especially if you have a genre like techno, which is pretty, or it's not just techno, by the way, it's just I've got techno on the brain. If you've got a particularly looped genre that relies on the interplay of a few single elements and their relationships, then if you want to move, let's say you have an idea like this, let's pretend it's a bit more involved, but you have two different elements, they're all arranged in the project. Let's say you want to move the tom forward in time or backwards that way on the screen. That way, I think. Let's just say you want to move it that way a little bit. It can be a bit time consuming to move each individual thing about. Let's say I just want to nudge it off the grid backwards in time, I think that's what you call it. Let's say I want to just move it backwards in time to give it a bit more of a feel, a bit more organic, human vibe, dancey. It just makes it feel a little bit better in most situations. If you move your percussive little noises off the grid, it feels more human, it feels more alive, feels more dancey, feels more nice, less robotic, less straight. Insert another 50 adjectives. You just want to do it, everyone does it, it makes sense. It makes sense to your brains too. So let's say you want to just move it, move it a little bit to the right, but you want to do that for literally everything on that channel. It can be a bit of a headache to move it. Now, I could show you a few workarounds, but the quickest way to do this is just to use the cool thing called track delay, and that will delay the entire channel. And once you have this track delays bit open on the right hand side, you can literally just turn up this milliseconds number, and it will move it that many milliseconds to the right. Well, not technically move it, but it will delay it, which effectively moves it. Now, it doesn't move it in the project, so you have to mentally visualize what's going on. So I always recommend leaving that open whenever you're using track delay, but it's really cool. Check this out. Oh, I'll start from the beginning, See how it's moved back in time, closer to the kick drum? And if I move it even more, delay it even more, pretty much falls under the kick drum. See, it's pretty much under the kick drum now, and it's all the way at 100. And I move it back to somewhere more reasonable. How much nicer is that? It's off the grid, it's feeling less robotic, it's feeling more natural, dancey, and there's just more groove about it. And it's nice and simple. It's just, I don't know, it's just a really nice way of working. It's not like you have to do it this way. I've been making music for, I don't know, 5-6 years now and pretty much never used this before, but it's just a nice workflow technique that I've started using. So maybe you'll find it useful too. I just think it's really nice when you have the whole project laid out. You can just drag this up and down and very quickly you can try different groove ideas out in just a nice fluid sort of way. I just think it's cool. I just think it's a nice way of moving things about and getting new timings working. Very quickly I can try a more laid back feel, closer to the kick drum. Realise it sounds stupid, so don't do that. Move it back to somewhere more reasonable. I like 30. There. How cool is that? A nice quick way of moving things about using track delays. It's worth noting you can do pre-delays as well, moving it forwards in time. I always get muddled between forwards and backwards in time. For me, forwards is forwards in time, so that's more towards the future, but then people say that's backwards in time and forwards in time is the other way. So I get in the muddle. Anyway, let's say you want to move the toms left. So I don't know what you call that. You can do a pre-delay by dragging the number down to minus numbers. See how it's happening early now? Or really early now, it's minus pre-delayed 90. I can't even see, the sun's in my eyes, 96 milliseconds. Let's stick it back to 30. That's nice. 30 is a nice number. Sweet. And there you go, nice and easy once you've seen how track delays. And just to remind you, because it's easy to forget, you need this little D button down here. In fact, I will do an arrow. Sweet, make sure you have the D for Dingus button selected, otherwise you won't see the track delays bit on the right hand side and you won't be able to do it. And as I say, you can use it in one of two main ways to do either compensating for latency when you're recording or using analog outboard gear, or what you can do is you basically use it like I've done in this video and use it to impart groove and to offset various elements in your track to give a different rhythm, to give a different sort of feeling, vibe, make it less robotic, wave your arms around, do some fist bumping, and yeah, just do all of that. And you'll make rad music, and you'll be Skrillex, and that is amazing. Who doesn't want to be Skrillex? Nobody, apart from Diplo, because he's one better than Skrillex.